Guys, for today's Society Sucks podcast video YouTube edition, we wanted to introduce it because we had
some technical difficulties going on, so you won't be seeing any of us in the footage, but you will be seeing our guest.
So we apologize for this, and we just want to let y'all know so y'all understand what's happening. Yeah. But like I said, we appreciate you guys. Go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe.
And leave us,
share, leave us a rating. Leave us a rating, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Just leave us a rating. We're your buddies. We go way back. You might as well.
You might as well.
And I guess that's all we have to say. Harvey, you have to add anything before they jump into the podcast?
I think that's it. Let's let them jump into it. It's a great conversation. You're going to love it. Bring out a pen and paper and you'll be good to go.
There it is. Peace.
Welcome to the Society Sucks podcast. Today we have with us a magician, musician, Jiu-Jitsu Black Belt, content creator, actor, model, and the list goes on. He uses this platform to create comedy skits and videos as well as share his passions. It is Anthony Cruz. Let's go.
That was impressive. I didn't even tell you guys any of that.
No?
For the people to know, I actually did not tell you all any of that.
There you go. So how are you, man? How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. So I guess we'll just go and dive right in, man. All these accolades. Why? Why all these accolades?
It happened all by accident. To be honest, I mean, like magic was what I started with originally. I used to do sports. I used to play baseball and football. I was very good at baseball and volleyball. But where I feel the school system is flawed, I couldn't continue to play sports in middle school and high school because I didn't have it was a 2.0 average because I just didn't apply myself. I didn't like school. Yeah. I found it really boring, so I wouldn't apply myself to doing my homework. And so because I couldn't play sports at 14, my aunt took my sisters and my mom and I to Vegas. I watched a magician by the name of Lance Burton perform, and I was blown away. I was like, oh, I want to learn how to do this.
Yeah.
So I think at 14, I kind of became a master manifester because we went to this place called Houdini's Magic Shop in Vegas. And we walked in and I said, when I get my first job, this is exactly where I'm going to work. This is where I want to work. Wow. He got me a big old magic kit. And with magic, I don't have to have grades, right, to do 2.0 average. So I would practice and practice. And eventually, I kind of got good. I did it as a hobby. It wasn't like I wanted to do this professionally. So I got good at it. And I kept going. And at 17, I went to Disneyland with a friend of mine. And on our way out, there's a place there that says Houdini's Magic Shop, which is the first place where I bought. And I was 14. Wow. So I went over there. I started talking to the manager. I apply. And the first job I ever get is at Houdini's Magic Shop, which is the same place that I said I was going to work when I was 14. Yeah. Right? Isn't that crazy? And then from there, at 18, I started performing at the Magic Castle and I kept going. So I think doing magic is what developed that. Side of like being an entertainer and because you got to be quick on your feet, it's comedy, so things like that, and then from there everything just kind of opened up.
Okay, so
that kind of like leads into that question perfectly.
So like because you have all this, you've done a lot, you're doing a lot, but we want to take a look at the past. Like, were you a shy kid growing up? Were you outgoing, or how did you even start to develop these skills?
I will say I was a late bloomer, but through magic I never had a clique in high school, but everybody liked me because I was the magic kid. Like in my school yearbook, I had a whole section to myself because the principal loved me. That was actually one thing. Like a lot of teachers, they would write me up to go to the principal's office because I would be a distraction in class with doing magic. And the first time the principal saw this, he's like, "You got some time here for doing magic? What do you mean?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a magician. I do card tricks." He's like, "Well, show me something you were doing." So I did one trick for him. He calls in the assistant, the vice principal. He's like, "Show what you did." I did another trick. Before I know it, I'm doing magic for the whole staff, and like 3 of the other kids were waiting to see the principal. So it helped a lot that the principal really liked me because he's like, "Anthony, if you just applied yourself just 10% of how much you do in magic, you would be fine in school."
That's so true.
It was good, man. He helped me out a lot. So that's in high school was good. It just I didn't have a clique, but everybody liked me, and I loved doing magic. I loved entertaining. I think that's where that part of being an entertainer started for me.
Okay, interesting.
I feel like that's quite amazing. Usually sometimes you hear, you get sent to the principal, you get disciplined. That principal's just on you, putting you down. Yeah. But instead of that, this principal's like, show me more. Like, let's see what you're doing. And you kind of like opened. And do you feel like that kind of allowed you to like be comfortable and it like fed into that?
Yeah, 100%. Because it's like I felt like it was like finally somebody saw, oh, okay, he saw like, okay, this kid is smart. He just doesn't apply himself to school, but he's talented. He would pull me out of class and he would take me to these like the meetings where all the schools have together, like all the principals meet. He would take me like, oh yeah, this kid's from Downey High School. Go ahead, dude. And he had me perform. Wow. Perform for everybody. Wow. But there was this thing called the CIF Awards, right, which is like all these kids going to elite colleges, right? And my mom came with me because I was performing magic. I got hired to perform magic there. And they're sitting at the table and the kid's like, oh yeah, my kid's there. They're going to UCLA. Oh, my kid's going to Harvard. Oh, my kid's going to go. And then they go to my mom like, which one's your son? My son's the magician right there.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh, wow, he's amazing. He's amazing. Yeah. So that was me.
Wow, that actually ties into perfectly to with all the things you are now. If a child were to tell their family that they wanted to be a musician, a magician, they would probably try to convince them to pursue something more stable or something, quote unquote realistic. Like, do you feel like you were allowed to freely pursue your interest, or was there like some resistance there?
I will say a lot of it, I think, with kids growing up is they don't pursue what they want to do because they get put down or kind of steered in a different way from their mom, dad, family, because that's your biggest influence growing up because you're around them all the time. And it was in my favor that my mom always supported me and anything I wanted to do. At one point, I wanted to become a professional poker player, and she would sit at a table with me and play poker with me. You know what I mean? Like anything I wanted to do, she always supported me. And that was a big help. With magic, she would support me. Only two people supported me when I first started, which was my aunt, who got me all the magic stuff, who took us to Vegas, and my mom. Everybody else was like, mijo, think about this. How many magicians are in the world? Think about how many doctors there are. It's a lot easier. And once I started performing at the Magic Castle, which is like one of the most elite places here in Los Angeles that you can perform, some of the best magicians perform there. All of a sudden, everybody's like, oh yeah, this is my nephew. Oh yeah, this is my grandson. Oh, he does magic. Oh, he's a magician. Because then I was performing, I was touring, I was doing really cool stuff, doing magic. But it's like that thing, when you first start out, nobody believes in you, but once you're there, everybody gets behind you, right?
100%.
That's, you just keep working on it. You have to believe in yourself. But once you're there, then all of a sudden that support comes,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a good one.
So earlier you also mentioned that you were like a master manifester, and I don't know how much truth that holds to yourself, but do you hold any like belief systems that are true to your being? Because you did grow up Christian, I believe, right?
Yeah, I grew up in a Spanish Christian church, actually. My grandma was a pastor.
Wow, she was a pastor.
Yeah, she was a pastor. Yeah, so I grew up in church singing and playing the drums. Actually, was my first instrument. I still believe in God now. My grandma, actually, she's no longer a pastor. She retired. She sold the church. But it's especially growing up in church. You see, as a pastor's grandson, grandkid, you see a lot of things, right? And you see both sides because you're like behind the scenes, and then you're there at church, and like every day was church. And at that time, like everything was of the devil. Like we had these Disney VHSs that we had to get rid of, because it was like of the devil. Like we couldn't celebrate Halloween back in the day because it was of the devil. So it was like a lot of things where as you start getting older, then you start having your own opinions and seeing different things. Do I still believe in a higher power? Absolutely. Do I still pray? Absolutely. I definitely believe that energy and what you put out there is what you're going to receive. I definitely believe your thoughts have powers, and what you speak becomes into reality. But I definitely don't think that everything is the devil the way I was brought up in church. I think there's you can pull back on some things too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And so like, where did this mindset that you have, right, of like putting things out there and manifesting things, you said you started this like around 14. Like, did you have like any external influence that helped you figure that kind of stuff out?
No, it's like, and that was just one example. Another example was in our senior year in high school, we had to write down goals that we wanted to accomplish and that we wanted to accomplish by the time we graduate. And one of them was, there's a very well-known theater where I grew up, which was in Downey, called the Downey Theater. And I wanted to perform there. And then I knew of the Magic Castle, and I said, I want to become a member of the Magic Castle. And then there was like a couple other goals. And by the time I graduated, I was already, not only was I a member of the Magic Castle, I was already performing at the Magic Castle. And 3 weeks before I graduation, they had a big event at the Downey Theater. They had a dance. It's like the dance concert that they do from the high school. They perform there. And the instructor, she comes up to me, she's like, hey, Anthony, there's a spot in the show. It's like 10, 15 minutes where all the dancers have to change. And we don't have anybody. would you be willing to do magic for us? And it was at the Downey Theater 3 weeks before I graduated. So
Whoa.
it's like
3
all
weeks
these
before.
thoughts that, the things that I had wrote down, and
Mm.
I kept doing magic. It goes back to, I feel like you write down your goals, and sometimes people manifest what they want, but then they go and they sit back and they chill and they go play some games, or they go hang out with friends, or they go to party. It's like, it's cool to write down those goals and manifest them, but now you got to work towards them.
Ooh, there we
That's
go.
it. No, that's
And I
it,
think that's
man.
why that happened. The energy, the universe is like, okay, this kid's working for it, and it attracted it back.
100% agree with that. I think, him and I are 100% in agreement with that. And I feel like when it comes to this multi-faceted life that you seem to be living, how do you decide what deserves your attention that day?
I don't know. It's just I'm a big homebody, which I think helps a lot. Like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't go out to party. When I first moved to Hollywood, I fell into a little phase of going out. I still wasn't drinking when I would go out, but I was going out a lot. And then I had to snap myself out of it because, like, man, like, what am I doing? This is not why I came out here. And it's very easy to fall into that lifestyle because, you're out with your friends, you got girls, you're at the club, and it's like,
Yeah.
but it's just like, nothing comes of it. And, eventually I snapped myself out of that. Not that I don't go out, but now I go out to like events that, maybe or something, or friends events, or maybe it's something that's, because at the end of the day, a party is a celebration. If you're out there celebrating, like, what are you celebrating if you haven't accomplished what you want to accomplish? Right?
That's it.
So it's just like, I'm still working towards what I want to accomplish. And I do find that once you accomplish what you are working towards, the parties become a lot better. That's for sure.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's a good mindset to have.
No, for sure. And I guess with that, like, do you have any daily practices that, that you dedicate towards your mind or body?
Honestly, jiu-jitsu is like,
Jiu-Jitsu.
helps a lot, man. It helps a lot. Training, for me, that's like, it's not, it's a lifestyle for me. If I had to stop doing jiu-jitsu tomorrow, I'd go crazy for sure. Because definitely, I've been doing jiu-jitsu 10 plus years, and it's a great source.
Yeah. Actually, when it comes to jiu-jitsu, us, we're white belts, so we're just starting out. And you being a black belt, what has this journey taught you throughout the years inside jiu-jitsu and outside of jiu-jitsu?
Consistency is key. I feel a lot of people quit going along the way. You can always make up a bunch of reasons why you can't go, and excuses, but one thing, like Bruce Lee said, the time will pass, right? It's like, and 10 years from now, you're gonna be like, damn, if you quit, you're like, I would have been a brown belt, I would have been a black belt, and whatever you were doing in those other 10 years, it's just like, if you would have just stayed consistent and just kept going and showing up, even if you're going 2 times a week, just show up and go and do it. And because the time's gonna pass, and time remembers nobody. The time will pass you up and leaves you behind. So it's like, you have to keep going with it or not. So I feel like that's like a big thing, is and it awfully, it's a great martial arts. It's one of the best martial arts,
Agreed.
No, yeah, it's so much fun. And on that, like, when did you actually start jiu-jitsu, and was like the passion for it instantly, or did it take time for it to develop?
So I got into it because I was always a fan of MMA and the UFC, but I didn't have an understanding. I wanted to have a better understanding of the sport. I would hear Joe Rogan, oh, he's in side control, and now he's going to mount, and now if he underhooks here, he can actually get a guillotine. I was like, I didn't get any of it.
Yeah.
And I want to have a better understanding, so I wanted to get into jiu-jitsu, because I always hear, oh my gosh, jiu-jitsu is so great. And I was like, jiu-jitsu. So I moved to Hollywood December of 2011. And the first week I'm in Hollywood, I'm leaving, and there's a flyer on my car.
Yeah.
And it says, come try out a class for 1 week for free. So I call it up, and they're like, hey, we just opened up. So we're allowing the students to come in. They had just opened up the week before. So I went in,
Wow, what are the odds?
I tried the class. The first submission I'll never forget was from a purple belt. His name was Heath, and he cross-collar choked me from guard. And I almost passed out. I was like, what the heck was that? I was like, I love this. And after class, I signed up, and I never stopped. That was it. I was the 5th student to sign up at that gym, and I stayed with the same gym from day one.
To this day?
To this day, I was with the same professor in the same gym from day one. I never gym hopped, never went anywhere else.
The craziest thing is, usually, you see the flyers on your car, people just have a tendency to grab them, just throw them away. I just don't even take a look at them. And that's the craziest thing about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's, the program director who left the flyer in the car, when he said, how did you find out about us? I told him about the flyer. They got excited. He said, dude, we had flyered 5 blocks up and down. He's like, out of 5, we only got 2 calls, and you were one of the 2.
Wow.
And out of the one of the
That's
2, I was the one
crazy.
getting all the way too.
That's insane. That is actually insane.
Right?
Yeah. So with all this, right, all these things that you're doing, they all tie into your social media. So what purpose do you wish to serve with your social media content?
You know, I it started off. It wasn't meant to be a comedy reel skit type of thing. I have 2 Instagrams. I had a music one, and but on my music one, I was posting all my jiu-jitsu stuff on there too, magic stuff and music. And it's like the thing with social media is, we know people are quick, right? You have 5 to 10 seconds to grab their attention.
Oh, yeah.
For
If
sure.
you go to IG and you're all over the place, they're like, I don't know what I'm following, and they're gonna go on to the next one.
That makes a
So
lot
I
of
said,
sense.
let me create a different page for jiu-jitsu where I can just post me training, the drills I do, me in class. That's it. It wasn't like, let me start a comedy skit. Well, COVID happens, right?
Yeah.
So COVID happens, which was in 2020, and everything slows down. So I'm like, crap. Now I started posting a couple of pictures, and during one of the days, I thought of this reel, and it was like different types of people at the gym. And I made the reel, and it did pretty well. And I said, oh, that was cool. Let me do another one.
Yeah.
And I did another one, and it kind of steamrolled all through that. And that's how it became through that. And in a year, I gained 20,000 followers. And it was like,
in
it
1
was
year.
just like in 1 year. Yeah. And it was just like, for me, it wasn't meant to be that, but it kind of fell into it. I was like, oh, let me just do it. And now I'm just rolling with it now.
I just roll with it. No, that's awesome.
So it did just kind of fall into your lap. You never went in with the mindset of, oh, I'm gonna do this to get, the fame, the notoriety, and people are gonna watch me, right?
Yeah. I did it just because I'm like, let me create a separate page where I can have my jiu-jitsu friends on here. So, and then if people want to follow jiu-jitsu, they can follow jiu-jitsu. If they want to do my music, they can follow my music. So it's not all over the place.
Wow.
No, that's awesome. So like, for your content, how do you get inspiration for your content? Like, are there any other creators that you look up to?
There's a lot of good creators. What honestly, what I do is either sometimes the ideas are original, like movies that I've watched, and then I'll be like, oh man, this would be a great sound to use, and or there's like little trends that are going on, and I'll try to make it my own. Like I'll hear a sound like, oh, that's good. Okay, now how can I make that to jiu-jitsu? Or how can I sometimes I'll post videos that have nothing to do with jiu-jitsu, but just comedy skits, and I'm like, how can I make that my own? And that's honestly what I'll try to, how can I make it better? So that's always the mindset of how I try to do it. As far as content creators I look up to, I don't know. There's a lot of good content creators that I like. I don't know if I look up to them, but I do. There's a lot of creators that I follow that I think are really good.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess like steering the wheel towards like more jujitsu, I'm interested to think like in the start of your journey as a white belt, like did you ever experience moments where you felt like this, wasn't for you, or you kind of like couldn't get past a hump? Like, is there like some advice you would give to people that are just getting into it, starting out, and that really just need that extra push to keep going?
Yeah, man. I remember it was a point when I was, I think, I was about to get my blue belt, or I was already a blue belt, and I felt when I would get to mount, I just didn't know what to do, and I would feel a lot more comfortable in side control than I would to mount. Sometimes the mount was there, and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna go to mount, because then the person ends up going back to half guard or pushing me or reversing me, and I lose the whole position. And I was feeling so frustrated because I just felt so stuck. And I feel like a really good thing to do is ask. And I feel a lot of lower belts, they're hesitant to ask upper belts, hey man, I'm stuck here. Like instead they just sit there after class or they bounce and they go on YouTube and try to figure it out. And you'd be surprised. There's at least at our gym, I think at most gyms too, people are very willing to help if you just ask. Even the black belts, if you say, hey man, I was stuck here. I get to mount, I'm just stuck, and I really, and just explain in detail what it is that you're stuck on. And I guarantee a lot of them will be willing to help out and help you get past that bump. Be like, oh wow, I didn't think about that, because they're gonna open up your eyes. So ask. I feel like a lot of people are just lower belts get hesitant to ask because they feel they might be disrespectful, or maybe because they don't know the person, or they get nervous. And the worst thing that's gonna happen is they're gonna say no, which most likely they're not gonna do it anyway.
They probably won't. Yeah, that's for sure. They probably won't. Everyone, you notice like everyone at jiu-jitsu is really just there for like the common mission. Everyone just wants to help, and it is like, I guess you could say that it is like a family. Like that's what you really want out of it, right?
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. So the journey of becoming a black belt, like how long did it take you, and did you ever experience any burnout on your journey?
I got my black belt in 8 years, and I
8
was
years, wow.
yeah, 8 years, but I was very consistent. Like when I started, I was training 2 to 3 times a day, and I was going 4 to 5 times a week. But I was very fortunate. I was living at home, right, with my mom. I was going to
Yeah.
school for music and jiu-jitsu. That was it. I had nothing else to do. There was nothing else I was doing. I was going to school, and my school and jiu-jitsu were literally right next to it. It was a 2 minute walk. So I take my
Wow.
gi with me. I take my guitar. I go to school. After school, I'd come out. I'd go to the gym. I'd change, train again, walk home, shower. You know what I mean? So it was just like
Yeah.
I was a 10-minute walk from the gym and from my school. I was right
Mm.
there. So I was very fortunate with that. And on top of that, I
Yeah.
was living at home, so I didn't really have to worry
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. My mom was cooking me food. I'd come home and she washed my
Yeah.
gis. I was living the life, you know.
Yeah.
So it was nice. But I feel like that's why I was able to catapult, you know, very quickly. And also because I was the fifth student to sign up at the gym. So when I signed up, there wasn't a whole lot of students.
Mm.
You know, obviously gyms that take you got to grow them. And my professor Alberto, he already had 4 of the gyms that were running successfully, but
Mm.
Hollywood was a new one that he had opened. So since it was new, he would sometimes allow me to come into the advanced class. Usually, as a white belt, you need 3 stripes at our gym. You need 3 stripes, and then you can start doing the advanced class. But because the advanced classes were a little emptier, he'd be like, "Do you want?" Sometimes he'd be like, "Do you want to join?" I'd be like, "Heck yeah!" So I'd be able to do a fundamentals, another fundamentals, and then I'd be able to hop into the advanced class and get my butt kicked in there, you know. And I feel that's when you most learn. So as far as a burnout, I really didn't feel a burnout because I loved it so much. I loved training, I loved learning, I was enjoying competing. Yeah, man, I didn't think, I never thought to stop. I remember there are people who started with me who have now come back and they are either still blue belts or purple belts, and we always talk about it all the time. Like I remember, like we used to have wars back then. I mean, we used to go at it, right? Because we were the same belt level.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, I remember he trains at the same gym I train at now, which is Legacy. He came back. We had got our blue belts together. He's still a blue belt because he had stopped for a little bit. And now we're on. Obviously, it's very different now. But he's like, dang. He's like, I remember there used to be a point when I would be able to take your back, and I used to be able to submit you to me. And I was like, but at least he kept on. The most important thing is he came back, and you're working towards it again.
Yeah,
For sure.
oh, that's true. So was competing for you like always a goal, or were you just like, you know what, I feel like I'm good enough to finally start competing?
No, I got into it, you know, like I think like everybody they get into it maybe because of curiosity, because you know they want to learn a martial art. I don't think anybody gets into jiu-jitsu to say, I want to be a black belt. That's what I want to get into jiu-jitsu, right? Nobody, I don't really think anybody, at least that's how it starts off, right? Unless you're like you're born into it, then it's like you're gonna do it no matter what. But I think for most people, it's like I just want to learn a martial art. I heard about jiu-jitsu, or someone recommended it to me, a friend brought me, whatever it is. In my case, I got a flyer, but I already knew I wanted to do it because of the UFC thing.
Right.
And then as I started doing it, I started getting better. My professor was the one that suggested, hey, you should think about competing. You do pretty well here. And so I did an in-house tournament, which was like, I think great. The in-house tournaments, you know, where it's like different gyms come and it's not as intense, you know. And then once I got the feel for that, then I started competing more and more, and I enjoyed it a lot. It was fun. It was fun for me. It pushes you, it tests you, you know. And I think when you train with people at your gym, obviously you start learning each other's game. You start like, okay, this person loves to pass like this, or if I give them this script, they're gonna give me some problems. So I have to do this. And there's things that you do well that they start shutting down because they know your game. But in the tournament, you know, if you're not a big name, people don't know your game and you don't know theirs. So sometimes things that don't always work in the gym work on there. Like, oh, the baseball choke does work. It's just that they know I love the baseball choke, so they're always shutting it down. But if you get in a tournament and you get it, boom. So that's what's great too. And then there's things that sometimes like, oh crap, I need to work on this because this person exposed my game or opened up a new game, which is great about tournaments.
So yeah, actually, you know, I guess that's speaking about your tournament experience overall. I guess starting out, you know, like white belt, right? We tend to be like a little nervous and scared. We're so focused on, you know, taking the dub or losing. You know, like, is there like something like, do you recommend like a sort of mindset when you step into like a competition type thing?
I would say have fun and don't take it's not as serious as you think. For example, think of someone like Gordon Ryan, right? Who's going to be competing against Andre. Think about how many eyes are going to be watching him, right? Think about how many people are watching him, or you know, when these other big names go on there, you know, like Nicholas Mergliotti, who just competed, you know, WNO. How many people? It was his first no-gi tournament. I mean, these are big names. The Rucholo brothers, you know, Mika Galval. everybody's watching them.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, you're going in there, you just got a couple of your friends and your teammates watching you. And if you
That's
lose,
true.
That's a good point.
That's so true.
Nobody's gonna remember that. You're not gonna be you're not gonna become a meme. You're not, you know what I mean? Like these guys have a lot right in the line. So I'm like, if they're getting out there and they can compete to their best, you know, at their best out there with all these eyes and all the pressures that they have, I'm like, you got to just take that pressure off of you and just go out there and have fun, because nobody's gonna remember your loss if you lose. And if you win, you're gonna get a post it. A couple of your friends are gonna like it. You're gonna get to celebrate, and that's it. You know what I mean? So it's
that's
like,
true.
just think about it like that. It's like, bro, there's levels, right? Like everything, there's levels to it, and we're fortunate we can just go out and have fun and not take it so serious.
Yeah.
And if you get to a point where you become a big name, by that point you're already gonna be comfortable. But right now, it's like, dude,
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
That is a good mindset
if you lose.
That's true. Yeah, because that having that mindset kind of takes that pressure off. It's like, I should just go there to have
whatever.
fun, do some learning. It's not
have
that big.
fun, do your game. Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's out there for the same reason. You both trained, it's just like, that's it.
That's it.
You're either gonna win or you're gonna learn, but you're not gonna lose.
Oh, that's true. That's a good mindset right there.
Yeah.
So I guess like kind of turning the wheel towards television, you and television, like what television roles have you taken on and which has been your favorite?
I think the most recent one I just did was a show actually on Telemundo.
Yeah.
Which was called Por Amor o Por Dinero. It was like a reality love show. That was my first time ever doing one like that. Yeah, it was interesting. It was a cool experience. I don't know if I would do another reality show unless it was like something like really big, but it was cool. I will say it did hurt my algorithm a little bit because I was growing pretty fast. But I was gone on the show for 2 months and I had to turn on my phone. I had no phone. I couldn't post. I had no communication, so I couldn't post. And with Instagram, if you stop posting, if you stop, being active, they kind of push you out.
They
and the problem
push you out.
I went on the show and I got a following from, like Ecuador, Peru, things like that. And so Instagram thinks, oh, he has a Spanish audience, so they'll start pushing me towards a Spanish audience. But then all my stuff is in English, so it's like getting mixed up. But now that I'm back, it's cool. I can start I'm posting again. I'm trying to get back into my algorithm where I originally was. But the experience was great with that. Other than that, I did another feature film, released, I think it was last year, called Beyond Paranormal. That was pretty cool too. And yeah, man, I got some other stuff in the works that I still can't talk about until it comes out.
Interesting. All right,
that's something to be on the lookout out.
Yeah, on the lookout, and yeah, I enjoy acting though. It's a lot of fun.
That actually, we always talk about the multiple facets of life that you're trying to pursue. It seems like you're a go-getter, and oftentimes we tend to say things like, I don't have time, I don't know what to do, or this seems impossible. What do you feel like we can try, what people can try to do to shift their mindset to be more open to venturing into new things?
I would say you just have to do it, honestly. I think there's this quote that says, the things you regret in life are the things that you didn't do, not the things you did do. Because you're always, if you don't do it, you're gonna always live with that mentality, like, oh, what if I would have done that, or what if, you know what I mean? It's just like, and if you do it, you're gonna have that answer, and you're either gonna figure out it was for you or it wasn't. I think that's the best way to figure it out. Just get your hands dirty and get in there, and
that's awesome, man. I think that's a killer mindset that I feel like if you start to adopt that, you really start to take over the world after that.
Yeah. And I think that's how I fell into all these things that I became good at, jiu-jitsu, magic, music, like acting, all these things, because it's just like I took the step to do it and I enjoyed doing it, and I got good at it. I was like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah. And so with acting, like, is that a more recent venture, or where did this interest in acting start?
I started, I used to play volleyball, and that's how I first got discovered, was playing volleyball. There was an agent there who saw me. I was like 18. Oh no, I was maybe like 19. And he's like, hey, he's like, yeah, are you an actor? And I said, no. He's like, do you have a good look? You should think about getting into commercials. Here's my card.
Wow.
What?
And that's how it happened.
I feel like that's very LA, honestly.
Right? Yeah.
I think it's very LA.
That's how it happened. And I started doing that. And when I moved to Hollywood for modeling, same thing. The first week I moved, actually the same week that I got into jiu-jitsu, I went to a shoe store. And there's a guy walking by, and he stops and he stares at me, And I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. I'm like, it's Hollywood. All right. It's like,
Yeah.
first week here, got to get used to this, whatever. It's kind of weird. And I stand up and like he stops and he stares at me again. I'm like, bro, what is this guy doing? And I was like, what's going on? And then he comes up to me, you know, and he's like, hey, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, sorry if I'm interrupting you. He's like, do you model? And I said, kind of, but and he gives me my card. He's like, here's my card. Look me up. If you like what I do, call me. He's like, I think you have a great look. He's like, if not, no worries. Which that approach I really like, because people in Hollywood are always like, oh, I can do this. I worked with this person. I've done this. I do that. He was just like, look, here's my card. Look me up. If you like what I do, call me. If you don't, no harm, no foul. Nice meeting you. So I was like, okay, that was very chill. So I looked him up. I liked him. I liked what he did. I called him. And I used to have short hair. I used to have like short, spiky hair.
Yeah.
So I went over there, did a test shoot with him, and nothing. I did another test shoot with him. We didn't get no calls. And he said, do me a favor, just grow out your hair. Don't cut it anymore.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Wow, really?
So I grew it out. I let it grow out. We did another test shoot, and then I got a call.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
And then we had a meeting, and the first job I ever booked was in Miami. It was for a company called Montclair, and it was Bruce Weber shot it, and I shot that with Victoria's Secret model Bahati. That was the first ever modeling gig I did. Wow. And then from there, I did Barney's New York, Abercrombie Fitch, Adidas. I just steamrolled.
Wow.
And that's how that happened. And so like with acting and like the modeling stuff, it's like it wasn't like I seeked out to do it. It was just like kind of people saw, hey, you have this look, you know, and fell into it. And then I started taking classes, and obviously got more serious about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's so interesting. So like with these things like that you're doing, like, are you more like emotion like led? Like, okay, if it pops up, then I'm gonna go do it. You know, if a modeling things come up, I'm gonna go do it. If an acting opportunity comes up, or like what do you do like throughout your day? Like you just wait.
No, now definitely I like all my agents now, but I'm like, yo, because now is what I do. So I'm like, all right, let's get some auditions. I'm ready to go. Castings, you know. But when it first happened, I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll go take some classes. Okay, I'll go do this, you know. But now that I'm in it, it's like, you know, it's like John Mayer says. I remember he talked about this when he says, when you're starting out and you're starting to get there, go for it. Let it all go all in, because you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. The worst that can happen is you fail, you fall, that's it. Once you're there, once you've made it, now you have everything to lose, right? Now it's like, because now you've made it, now you're there, and now you have to make it happen. Now you got to keep going. So it's just like, I feel like right now I'm still on that journey of going up, you know, and it's like I'm still working towards this. Like I got nothing to lose, you know, but it's like I feel like once you're there, it's not, you know. So I think that's the thing. It's just I have fun with it, and I definitely now though I'm very much more active with it. I don't just sit back and lay back with that.
Okay, no, that's awesome. Yeah, and I was about to say, like, you have a very like laid back persona when it comes to doing all of these things. Like, you know what? Yeah, I just started off like this, but do you have like any things that bring stress into your life, like any things that are like challenging you at the moment, or how do you deal with these emotions when they come up?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Stress. Let's see, man.
Like stress. I don't even know that exists.
I think you know, I think I don't know, man. I try to push out negative. Like I don't even have a big circle of friends. I feel like, you know, the smaller the circle, the better. Like I have a good tight group of people I could trust. I feel like that's always the most important thing, is having people around you who are trusting, who are honest with you, not have yes men around you. You know, because I feel like sometimes, like I remember I was making a vlog once. I have a friend of mine, he's a TikToker, very talented, and I was making this vlog, and I started off and I showed it to him, like, what do you think? He's like, bro, I think that's shitty. I was like, what? He's like, I would have clicked off of that in the first 10 seconds.
Wow.
I was like, really?
That's good, though.
That's really I'm like,
good.
okay. And at first I was like, what? I'm like, screw you, man. Like, what the heck? And then afterwards I was like, okay, well, and then he helped me, and I was like, okay, that's actually a lot better. Okay, I see your point. And you know, I think you need people like that, because I feel like sometimes you have around you who are just like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's good. Oh, I love it. Yeah. And it's like, is it really the best? No. But if you're surrounded by yes men, you're never gonna have people who push you. And I feel it's also good to have like-minded people around you, people who are working towards the same goal. You know, I believe likes attract likes, you know, and you will, the circle that you have around you, that's what you're going to attract. And if you have people who are lazy, who like to party, like to do drugs, they're in that lifestyle, that's what you're going to slowly start attracting. But if you were working towards people who are working towards a goal, vloggers, podcasts, you know, acting, whatever it is, and you're all working towards a similar goal, even if it's not in the same field, but even if there's something working towards something, I feel like you both attract that and it will push each other.
Oh, and I
Mm,
think that's the biggest part too, because like y'all have this accountability. Like we have to get after
Yep,
this stuff.
for
We only
sure.
have one life. Let's get after it. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Constructive criticism, all that good stuff is necessary for growth.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
So these friends that you have they been like lifelong friends, or did you have a certain group that you used to hang out with? Maybe they weren't the best sort of mindset, maybe they weren't the best activities. You kind of start to let them go, and then, or was it just always the same group of people?
Yeah, I mean, after high school, honestly, from my high school, I really don't talk to anybody. Like I didn't, it's not like I stayed, like I had best friends in high school. So like a lot of my friends are either friends that I met through magic, music, or acting or content creating. People in my
Mm,
field, and some of them I've known for about a year, some of them I've known for years.
mm.
And because like I got my first job this year at Disneyland when I was a teenager, and like I met people there. I remember when I went to Disneyland, I thought I was this hot shot magic kid because I grew up in Ghana. There was one other magician there, and I was way better than him.
Oh
So I thought I
wow.
was so good. I was like, oh man, I'm great. So I remember I get to Disneyland, I met a guy there who actually I'm really good friends with now, and he's like, oh, show me a trick. So I showed him a trick. I was like, cool. I was like, yeah, show me one. And then he shows me, and he stumped me, and I was like,
Whoa.
because my friend who always used to do magic, I used to always know, we always used to give each other constructive criticism. I'm like, oh, you got to do this better, blah, 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 blah. And I watched him, and I was like, I had no idea what happened. And then he shows me another one, and then he stumps me again. I was like, oh
Wow.
man, I suck. I need to get better
Wow.
at this. And then I feel like, it's like, it's the same with jiu-jitsu, right? Like
Mm,
sometimes maybe you could be like one of the top people at your gym, and then you go with someone who actually, I feel like there's a difference between people who train all the time and people who are professional athletes, right? And
oh,
like there's people who train all the time, who train 4 or 5 times a week, but then there's people who are professional athletes and do this as a profession. And when you roll with those people,
ooh,
it's like that's
levels.
when you realize, like, dude, there's levels to this. There are levels to this, because
Yeah.
there are purple belts out there now, blue belts who are just smoking,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just like running through people, and it's like, man, the game has changed a lot.
Game is definitely changing. I kind of want to get a timeline on these things when they started to come into your life. So it was magic, and
Magic.
then did it lead to musician?
Yeah,
Or
magic led into music, and I guess I grew up in a musically inclined family, so it was inevitable. My grandma was
okay.
a singer. She was like a singer outside of the church before she converted, but she was like she opened up for Juan Gabriel back in the day. And then after that, she like went into the church thing. So I grew up with that. My mom's a singer songwriter. My stepdad's a sound engineer and a producer.
Wow. So it
So
was
that
in
was
the
like, I think,
bloodline. It
yeah, I
had
think
to
that was
be.
like inevitable, right? So
Yeah,
I went
yeah,
from,
yeah.
I was doing magic, but I grew up around music. I was always singing.
Oh, I
I was
see.
playing guitar, and then I think like maybe after I finished this magic tour, and I wanted to give music a go. So then I got into music. That's when I went to started going to Musicians Institute. But at the
Mhm.
same time, when I went to MI, that's when I discovered jiu-jitsu at the same time, which was in
Ooh.
2011, because I
Mm.
moved to Hollywood to go to school for music. And then at that same time, during that week, I did get discovered in the shoe store to start modeling. And then that's how that happened.
Ooh.
So like I feel like the magic, I mean the music and the acting and the jiu-jitsu kind of all integrated and happened all kind of at the same time. Yeah,
Mhm.
unplanned, obviously, but that's how it
Mhm.
happened. And then after that, the acting.
Okay.
Mhm.
So in LA, right, where you live, is this a common thing, or is this like do you know anyone else who's like has all these, that's very multifaceted, or do you have like any other friends that are like that?
Yeah, I feel like with like the magic thing is like it's like a rare one, but there are
Yeah,
definitely
for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
For
in
sure, that
LA.
one.
In LA, you get people who are doing, actors, writers, producers. It's like music
Yeah,
producers. It's like, yeah, I always feel like sometimes like LA is like a fantasy world. You know what I mean? Because
definitely.
it's like what do you do like for a job? And it's like, well, this is what I
Oh.
do. You know what I mean? It's different. It's different. But I feel
Yeah.
like everybody does like a little bit of everything like that.
Hmm.
And like dips their toes into everything like that. And
Ooh.
yeah. Yeah.
You actually remind me of, we have this conversation that we have, whether should we focus
Oh yeah.
our energy all into one thing, or, is it okay to be working on multiple things at a time? Like, where's your mindset in that? How do you see that?
I feel so like I'm with both, right? I feel like it's good to dip your toes and figure out what it is you want to do, because
Mhm.
you gotta, but I feel like if you find one thing that you are actually really good at and that you're passionate about, And if you hyper fixate on that and you go all in, I feel like a lot of things will happen there, you know, and you'll be able, like, that's how it happened with magic, right? Once I couldn't play sports, I just hyper fixated on magic, and it wasn't even like a plan. I just ended up loving it so much, and through that, so many opportunities and so many doors opened, because that's all I was doing. I was just every day I was practicing cards, coins, you know, levitation things, paper tricks, rope tricks, whatever I could get my hands on, reading books, DVDs, YouTube videos around friends. I just hyper fixated on that. That's all I was doing. And I think that's how I became pretty good at doing that and was successful at it. And then from there, you know, later, same thing with music, you know, and now I think for me, like, the main thing that I really love doing right now is content creating. Like, I know that's like, I have ideas where I just think of ideas, and like, I'll show you, like, I just think of ideas, and like, see, I'll keep you here, like reels, TikToks, like just ideas.
Wow. Yeah.
Look at that.
You know, and then like vibe checks ideas that I just do. I just keep them. I just like ideas that I have, and I'll write them down. And you know, like, oh, this is great. Write it down. Write it down. So and I feel like the same thing. I feel like that's why, like, my IG grew pretty well, you know, before I went to the show in about a year.
Yeah, because it feels like your social media is really just like a creative outlet for you. Like, you already have all this stuff flowing in your mind, you know, you're putting it down. Oh man, an idea came to me, need to write it down before I forget it, and then you're just, you know, throwing it out there. So like, we're literally seeing like your creativeness in the social media.
For sure.
Yeah.
Dude, that social, the social media side of things, it really is. It's just the funniest thing. Like,
yeah, dude, it's funny, dude. I'll be scrolling through, I'm like, dang, this guy's actually hilarious.
I'm like, wait, there has to be one that's not as funny, and then you just keep going.
You just keep going. Yeah,
it's consistent, which is awesome, man.
Yeah, I feel that's what you got to do, man. Like, this is where I get annoyed with content creators, right? Like, one of the things I do is, like, you have the benefit, like, we're in a time now where you can film in your own home, outside, and you can do as many takes as you like. So I hate when I see, like, for example, like when you do the lip syncing, right? The most annoying thing for me is when people don't get it right. When it's you do unlimited amount of takes, right? Like, there's no camera film that's gonna run now. You can do, and that was your best one. Like, you were that lazy to see, like, oh, I'm a little off, but it's good enough.
Oh, that's
like,
dude,
wow.
Take the time, like, and this is, and you know, I feel like people see that. I always tell this, and I learned this in magic. The public is not stupid. The public is smarter than you, and the public is the one who's in charge of your career.
They'll talk that shit
they'll
to
be the
you.
ones to define if you're gonna keep growing or not. You know, and it's like, and I feel like the audience can see when people put their time and to put out a quality video, and they're not dumb.
I agree. I agree.
So many people like look at it like, nobody's gonna notice that. It's like, no, they are gonna notice that. Like, when I see transition videos that people like go like that, and then it's like you see this and the hand's still coming up. I'm like, bro, like an easy one. Like, you could do like little things like that. I'm like, that's it. And that was your best one. That for me is when I see that, I get annoyed. Because like, dude, you that for me, that shows that you were lazy. Like, you could take that as many times as you want. You could do this. You could do it over and over and over until you get it right. And like, you were not lazy to like to say that's my best work and put it out.
Yeah, for sure. It is like a reflection.
And I feel
of
that's
effort.
why. And I feel that's why, like, with my reels, every time I don't post a reel, but like, this is not funny, but I'm gonna post it. Like, if I'm gonna do something, I think, okay, this has the potential to grab a lot of attention, or maybe even possibly go viral. You know, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it's like, I don't put anything out that I don't think is not worthy of putting out or not funny, or just putting out just to put it out.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Yeah, I was about to say that. So it's not like you have like, okay, you know, whatever I have, I need to make sure to be posting on this day consistently. It's just like, if I'm gonna make time towards it, I'm gonna make it right, and I'm just gonna upload it if I find it funny. Yeah,
and you know, I still try to post like 4 to 5 times a week.
Wow.
Like, that's when I started my reels. I was posting 5 times a week on IG and on TikTok. On TikTok, I'm at 30. And then obviously on IG, like, I think I'm at 24, 25. So, but it was like, it goes back to everything where I say it's consistency, right? It was just like, I made a goal where I say I'm going to post 4 to 5 times a week. And then on Sundays I would post a picture, or sometimes if I have a reel, I'd post a picture during the week. But it was just like, I made that a mindset. I'm going to post 4 to 5 times a week, and I want to make sure I post out good content. And that's what I'm going to do. So, and being consistent is what kind of made that grow a little bit.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That honestly is such amazing information. I hope, anyone listening right now, it's so simple. Everyone says consistency, but I guess this is where you can like set a challenge for yourself. Commit to something for at least 30 days, right? And I guess prove to yourself that you can be consistent with one thing, and that will lead into anything else that you want to, put your time into.
Exactly. Yeah.
I agree. And hyper focus on it. If you're gonna do it, like if you're gonna do it, go all in. Like stay focused on that, because working from home, it's very easy to get distracted too. You know what I mean? You got your phone, you got your laptop, you start going on whatever, Facebook, Reddit, different Discord, different things like that, looking at NFTs, whatever you're doing. And it's just like, I feel like if you can like stay hyper focused on it, go all in, like you said, just stay consistent, try for 30 days. A lot of people will surprise themselves.
There you go, guys.
Cool. I actually have an interesting question. I just now thought of this, but so you have these things that are now part of your life. Is there anything that you've decided to let go, that you've tried or went into ventured and said, you know what, I'm gonna let go of this one because there are things that I feel deserve more of my attention?
I don't do magic professionally anymore, even though like I still do magic, and I'll perform it like for friends or something with like, if there's a girl I'm talking to, she's like, oh, you should do magic, or maybe I'll do something for her. Or some of the best is I don't tell people I do magic, and I'll do a trick, and then like they'll get blown away. But like to do it professionally anymore, I don't put, because it goes back to what you were saying. I feel like if you do too many things, it's like, it's like, are you good at a bunch of things, or you're a master at one thing, And it's just, I feel if you put your attention on too many things, you're never going to really be able to focus and grow one thing. So like magic was like one thing that I stopped focusing on like professionally, where I used to have a website, I used to have business cards, used to get gigs, but I don't do that professionally anymore. I still love magic and I still love performing it, and I feel that has helped translate a lot into my entertainment side, and that's what helps also with my content creation, being creative like that, because having to come up with acts and shows and routines and skits, that actually translate that, and the acting obviously helps the delivery. But yeah, I think things like that. I remember like other sports like soccer and basketball I suck at. Like I remember I tried it one time. I was like, this is not for me. But yeah, I think for me, I think the magic thing was like the one where I just like said, okay, I have to stop doing this professionally because I'm doing too many things.
I see. Yeah, and I think that's a good lesson right there, is that just because you've developed something and grown something, and you're spending less time on it, doesn't mean that the love stopped being there for it. It's just that maybe you're not gonna pursue it as an actual thing. Like this isn't your main focus. It's just it's part of you, and it always will be.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so like even with your content creation, right? Like you have your day set out of when you're posting. You're not actually like stressed as to making this happen, are you? Like you're just like, if this is something I love to do, this is something I get to do. Whereas other people's mindsets like, I have to make it, I have to post these things consistently or else, you know what I mean? You're just like, nah, like I enjoy doing this.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think you should do what you love, do what you love and love what you do. Because like, if you're doing something for the money, there's way easier ways that you can make money, right? And just if you just want to make money, like there's way easier ways to make money around here. That's like go work get a good job that starts you off good, and you can work. You know what I mean? But it's just like if you're doing something that you love, that's like magic. I started off doing magic because I fell in love with it, and then later the money came. It wasn't like I got into because I want to make money. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. It's not like I got into jiu-jitsu to say I want to become a black belt. I got into jiu-jitsu because of curiosity, and I fell in love with it, and now I'm able to teach and do privates and stuff like that. But I feel like if you get into something because you're actually passionate about it and love it, and you love it, the rest will follow. Money follows joy. That's for sure.
That's a good one. And I think that's the right approach to take when it comes to these things, is that, when you love something, when you have a passion for something, it's a lot easier to eventually become a master at it. And then at that opportunity, once you're at that level, then that's when you can turn like your passion into an income. And so instead of looking at backward, it's like, oh man, what can I do to make me money like right now? It's like, no, like that's a backwards approach, because the money will automatically the money's a side effect. It's a reward of being at the top, basically.
Exactly. And that's everything. That's how it is. Music. You look at these artists. A lot of these artists, look at that group BTS right now, right? Probably the hottest thing out right now. But you look at when they first started, like my sister's really into them, so she opened my eyes to them. I was like, man, they used to stick. They were like sharing bunk beds together, like in this little house together, and they were like drilling and practicing. The company was in the negatives. They were getting loans from the bank, And now these guys are, I mean, they're selling out, Raider Stadium 4
Raiders.
nights in a like not even an arena, a stadium 4 nights in a row. This
Stadium.
group that doesn't speak English.
English.
So it's like, if they don't speak English, man, we're out here, we're speaking English. We better get on it, man.
Yeah, no, for real.
But look they were working hard, right? They were like, they were working hard. They were drilling, they were practicing music, dancing, all of it. And hard work pays off. And then now the money comes, but they got into it because they were loving it, because they loved doing the music, because they enjoyed that.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's mainly the main way you can even put up with, all the challenges that come your way, is because, you know what? Yes, there's a challenge, and yes, it might be stressful, or I might be at a low right now, but I love this and I'm going to make it work regardless of how I feel right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I think that's pretty much, the questions that we have. We actually do like to wrap it up with, I think it's 5-6 rapid fire questions just to end it off. And Harvey will introduce
Put the
those.
improv mind on. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Let's
All right.
get it.
So question number 1 here of our rapid fire questions is, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The things that you think, if you told your younger self something, I would say the things that you think are going to be your weaknesses are actually going to turn out to be your strengths. Meaning that, like, things that you were criticized for, like me doing magic, I was criticized for that and said I was a distraction. Those things are actually what carried me through life and made me the happiest.
Wow.
I like that. That's a good answer.
That was a good
Okay. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, the worst piece of advice. I always say the people who never did it will always tell you best how to do it. Don't listen to them.
Oh,
That's true.
that's a good one too.
Question number 3. What's something that you know to be true, but that others might disagree with you on?
One thing I think is true, that others might disagree on me. Dang. Oh, that's a good one, actually. That I'm the funniest content creator out there.
Oh, no.
That's a good.
That's
That's a good one.
I like
Hey,
that one.
yeah, that was.
All right. Question number 4. What is something that you wish you knew earlier?
That success as you dreamed it is never going to show up the way you saw it.
Wow. Okay. I like that.
Very good.
And then one thing we like to ask our guests is, what is one thing you think we could all do to make society suck a little less?
Worry about keeping your front porch clean. Don't worry about other people. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just worry about keeping your front porch clean. Keep yourself happy, and you'll attract happiness, attract good things in life. Don't focus on the negative.
There we go.
Boom.
That's it
Mic
right
drop,
there.
everyone.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
That is it right there.
All right.
Wow. That's
Well,
awesome.
we thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, man.
I
Guys,
did too, man.
I'll listen to this. Get a lot of. I feel inspired. I know a lot
For
of people
sure,
right now
for
listening
sure.
feel inspired because this is awesome. And you're still on the come up too. So we're not done here, guys.
Yeah.
We'll have him back on for another episode.
Heck yes.
For
heck
sure.
Yes, heck yes.
So if you're interested in reaching out to you, where can they go and look you up?
You can go to my Instagram, my TikTok. It's all the same. Jits Cruz, JITSCRUZ at Jits Cruz. And that's where you can find me. Instagram and TikTok are probably the two that I use the most.
Awesome.
You can find me on there.
Awesome, guys. So all those links will be down below. So be sure to support him. You can tell he has a great energy. You want this around you guys.
Exactly.
You want this. You want to be this. And
Y'all join him before he hits 100K here.
Exactly.
Soon. Y'all want to be there. Y'all want to be here. All right.
Yeah, with that being said, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here with us.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
man. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you.
All right, man. Have a good one.
See ya.
Thank you.